Dolphins, Bengals. Just sex sells. I think I don't have the lines in front of me, but I assume that the Dolphins are favored in this one. The Dolphins, who I saw you on Get Up this morning, refer to yourself as a Dolphin.
Oh,
Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Robert Griffin III said they're the best team in the NFL. I don't agree with that take, but I do think they're very good.
I'm not a Dolph addict.
Let's start here. Let's start from the Bengals' perspective, because obviously it's been an underwhelming start to the season for them. Last week against the Jets, they were able to get things going a little bit more, but I think the question is, okay, well, how much of that was the Bengals versus how much of it was the Jets giving them some more favorable coverage looks? Probably a little bit of both is my answer. How do you feel that they match up with the Dolphins defense that I thought just pitched a really nice game against Josh Allen?
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins defense, I think, matches up well. And maybe I'm just still looking at what happened last week, but I mean, I think Xavier Howard is very good. And I think the Dolphins are comfortable with giving up some plays because they are going to also create havoc and get some plays that go in their favor. That's the funny thing is when I watched that Dolphins game, it was like all their best plays came when they were blitzing and all their worst plays came when they were blitzing. And if they're comfortable with that, then I'm comfortable with it. So they have a lot of great skill players on the other side. Cincinnati does, but so do the Bills. So like I'm not too incredibly nervous. I guess there's concern about Joe Burrow's athleticism, breaking tackles and turning stuff into big plays, but he also holds onto the ball, and you can't hold onto the ball consistently against zero coverage. It's just because they have more people than you can block. So I don't know. It worries me. Quick balls to Chase. He'll break a tackle and go to crib.
Yeah.
That worries me. But I don't know. I just feel really good about their defense coming off of what they did last week.
I was actually really impressed by their 4-man rush in the second. Because you're right. They were kind of like living and dying by the blitz early on where Josh Allen was slicing them up. They also like had 2 sacks and forced a fumble. But in the second half.
Forced 2 fumbles.
2 fumbles. The second half, when they stopped blitzing quite as much or started just simulating it more often, I thought Ogba and Melvin Ingram were fantastic. And that was something that really jumped out to me is like, oh, they can do the style of defensive play that is in vogue right now, which is you don't blitz, you sit back, you just force the offense to work underneath, which is what they did to Buffalo. And then, of course, it worked out for them, with those goal line stops. And I think that's what they should do against Bengals. Don't blitz Joe Burrow. I mean, I am still unconvinced by the Bengals' ability to solve those looks. They cannot run the ball for They didn't run it well against the Jets either. Joe Mixon's averaging like less than 3 yards per carry on the year. Ben Solak, friend of the show, I thought had a really nice piece of The Ringer talking about how some of that had to do with the fact that the Bengals almost exclusively run under center and throw out of the shotgun. So when you watch, defenses are kind of clued onto that, and they're more likely to play single high against the run. I did notice in the Jets game that they were mixing it up a little bit, and Joe Burrow was throwing more from under center and had some really big plays. So I'll be curious to see if that continues. But I just don't think this Bengals offensive line holds up against this Dolphins pass rush.
Yeah. I mean, the simulated blitz still gives their pass rush some advantage. Like it's with the line preparing for it, they're sliding different directions, you're creating one-on-ones, and I think the quarterback is also nervous and ready to make some decisions quickly. So even showing the simulated pressure and dropping out like has an impact on the pass rush. But I guess there's also like a comfort level with what you're doing, and I'm with you. They're comfortable in zones and man coverage without zero blitz. But, and this is personal bias, I guess, creeping in, I love playing zero coverage. Just like the idea that they don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, I would rather do that as a corner than like have a 4-man rush and play man. Like, I'd rather not have a safety cover me because, like, I don't know, the quarterback's under pressure. It just feels better. So I don't know. I guess I'm just speaking. I understand Joe Burrow is better against man coverage, but I'm speaking as someone assuming Xavier Howard is comfortable in zero coverage. I'd rather commit one way or the other.